The blaring alarms echoed through the dimly lit corridors of the space station, signaling the arrival of an alien ship, humanity's last hope. Jack Harper, a rugged Australian ex-soldier, stood at the viewport, his eyes fixed on the approaching vessel. His heart pounded with a mix of anticipation and fear. Beside him, Dr. Elise Nolan, the station's chief medical officer, broke the silence. "This is it, Jack. If they won't help us, I don't know what we'll do." Jack clenched his fists, the scars on his knuckles white against his tanned skin. "They have to, Elise. We can't let them turn us away." The alien ship docked with a soft hiss, and moments later, a delegation of tall, elegant beings emerged. Their leader, Dr. Velter, exuded an air of stoic authority. Jack stepped forward, his voice steady but urgent. "We need your help. Our children are dying," he said, his Australian accent thick with emotion. "My daughter is among them." Dr. Velter's silver eyes scanned the room, his expression unreadable. "Humans have always been fragile. Our methods are advanced, perhaps too much so for your kind." Jack's jaw tightened. He lifted his shirt, revealing a latticework of scars crisscrossing his torso. "These scars," he began, his voice rough, "are not marks of weakness. They are badges of survival." A murmur rippled through the alien delegation. Dr. Velter raised a hand for silence, his gaze now locked onto Jack's. "Explain," he commanded. Jack's mind flashed back to a mission that had gone horribly wrong. He and his team had been sent to explore a distant planet, only to be ambushed by hostile forces. Jack fought valiantly, but his comrades fell one by one. He barely escaped with his life, dragging his broken body through hostile terrain until he was rescued weeks later. "I was the only one who survived," Jack continued, his voice heavy with the weight of memory. "Not because I was the strongest, but because I refused to give up. Humans are resilient. We endure." Dr. Velter's expression softened slightly, but he remained skeptical. "Endurance alone does not guarantee survival in our care." Elise stepped forward, her eyes pleading. "Please, Dr. Velter, our children deserve a chance. They're not just fragile beings. They're the future." The alien physician seemed to consider her words. Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he awaited the verdict. The silence stretched on, oppressive and thick. Finally, Dr. Velter spoke. "We will evaluate your claims. Bring your daughter to the medical bay." Jack's relief was palpable. He turned to Elise, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. As they led the way to the medical bay, Jack felt the weight of his scars, both physical and emotional. Each one told a story of survival, of resilience, of a refusal to surrender. And now, those scars might just save his daughter's life. The tension in the air was electric as they approached the bay. Jack knew this was only the beginning. Convincing the aliens to help was a victory, but the battle was far from over. His journey was just starting, and he was prepared to fight for his daughter's future with every ounce of strength he had. As the doors to the medical bay slid open, Jack took a deep breath. The stakes were higher than ever, but for the first time in a long while, he felt a flicker of hope. The path ahead was uncertain, but Jack Harper was no stranger to adversity. He would face whatever came next with the same tenacity that had kept him alive all these years. Jack's heart pounded as he carried his daughter, Lily, into the alien medical bay. The sterile air was filled with the hum of advanced machinery, a stark contrast to the anxious whispers of the human delegation gathered outside. Dr. Velter and his team observed in silence, their expressions unreadable. "Put her here," Dr. Velter instructed, indicating a sleek examination table. Jack gently laid Lily down, brushing a strand of hair from her pale face. "She's been getting weaker every day," Jack said, his voice tinged with desperation. "I can't lose her." Dr. Velter nodded, signaling his team to begin the preliminary scans. The room buzzed with activity as alien medical instruments, both sleek and intricate, hovered over Lily, analyzing her condition. Elise stood beside Jack, her eyes fixed on the monitors. "We need to stay calm. They're our best chance." Jack clenched his fists, feeling the familiar sting of his scars stretching across his knuckles. Calm? My daughter's life is in their hands. As the scans progressed, a new figure entered the room. Dr. Delora, a younger alien physician with a softer demeanor, approached Jack. Your scars, she said softly. They tell a story of great resilience. How did you survive? Jack's gaze met hers, seeing genuine curiosity rather than judgment. A mission gone wrong. We were exploring a hostile planet. My team was ambushed, and I was the only one who made it out. I survived because I refused to give up. Dr. Delora nodded, her eyes reflecting a deep contemplation. Human endurance is remarkable. Perhaps we have underestimated you. Dr. Velter, overhearing their conversation, interjected. Endurance is one thing, but our procedures are complex. They require more than just survival instinct. Jack stepped forward, his voice steady. It's not just about endurance. It's about our will to fight, to protect those we love. That's what keeps us going. Dr. Velter studied Jack for a moment, then turned back to the monitors. We will proceed with the initial treatment. It will take time and there are risks. Jack's heart ached as he watched the alien physicians work on Lily. The room's cold, clinical atmosphere was almost suffocating. He glanced at Elise, who gave him a reassuring nod. They were in this together, fighting for the same cause. Hours passed in tense silence, punctuated only by the soft beeps of the medical equipment. Finally, Dr. Velter spoke. The preliminary treatment is complete. Now we must wait and see how her body responds. Jack exhaled, the weight of uncertainty heavy on his shoulders. He looked at Lily, her small body seemingly even more fragile under the bright lights. Thank you, he said, his voice thick with emotion, for giving her a chance. Dr. Velter nodded curtly. We are not finished yet. This is just the beginning. As they left the medical bay, Jack felt a mix of hope and fear. He knew the battle was far from over. The real test was just beginning. Outside, the human delegation awaited news, their faces etched with anxiety and anticipation. Elise squeezed Jack's shoulder. We'll get through this. Together. Jack nodded, determination hardening his resolve. He glanced back at the alien ship, a symbol of both hope and uncertainty. We have to. For Lily. Jack sat by Lily's bedside, the steady beep of the monitor offering a fragile reassurance. Her pale face seemed almost peaceful, but Jack's heart ached with fear and hope intertwined. The alien medical bay, with its sterile, almost futuristic appearance, felt both a sanctuary and a battlefield. Dr. Delora entered quietly, her soft footsteps echoing in the silence. We've stabilized her condition for now, but the next 24 hours are critical. Jack nodded, his eyes never leaving his daughter. Thank you, Dr. Delora. I know this isn't easy. She gave him a small, empathetic smile. Your daughter's strength is remarkable. It seems she inherited your resilience. Elise joined them, carrying a tray with a hot drink for Jack. You need to keep your strength up too, Jack. He accepted the cup, feeling the warmth seep into his cold hands. I can't help but feel helpless, Elise. I've faced death, battled impossible odds, but this, watching her fight for every breath, it's unbearable. Elise placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. She's a fighter, Jack, just like you. We need to stay strong for her. Dr. Velter entered, his presence commanding immediate attention. We need to discuss the next steps. The initial treatment was successful, but her body is still adapting. We may need to perform further procedures. Jack's jaw tightened. What kind of procedures? Dr. Velter's gaze was steady. Experimental treatments that could enhance her chances of recovery, but they come with significant risks. Jack felt a surge of desperation. Risks? Like what? Her body might reject the treatment, leading to severe complications. Dr. Velter explained, his tone clinical but not unkind. Jack stood, his determination hardening. If there's a chance it can save her, we have to try. Dr. Delora interjected gently. It's important to weigh the risks carefully. We'll do everything we can. but you need to be prepared for any outcome. Jack took a deep breath, his mind racing. I understand. Do whatever it takes. As the alien physicians prepared for the next phase, Jack found himself reflecting on his journey. Each scar on his body told a story of survival, a testament to human resilience. He remembered the mission that had left him broken and scarred, the pain and loss that had nearly crushed him. But he had survived, not because of his strength alone, but because of his will to fight and protect those he loved. He glanced at Elise, who nodded in silent support. They were in this together, fighting for Lily's future. The room buzzed with the soft hum of machinery, and the air was thick with tension and anticipation. Hours passed in a blur of activity and anxious waiting. Jack watched every movement, every adjustment, feeling the weight of each decision. Dr. Velter and Dr. Laura worked with precision and care, their alien technology a blend of mystery and hope. Finally, Dr. Velter stepped back, his expression unreadable. The treatment is complete. Now we wait. Jack's heart pounded as he took Lily's hand in his, feeling the small, fragile pulse beneath his fingers. Come on, Lily. You're stronger than this. You can make it. The room was silent, each breath a prayer, each second an eternity. Jack's mind raced with 1,000 thoughts, fears, and hopes colliding. He looked at the alien physicians, seeing in their eyes a flicker of something he hadn't expected. Hope. The medical bay was a maelstrom of tension. Jack sat rigidly by Lily's side, his fingers entwined with hers, feeling every faint pulse of life. The alien physicians worked tirelessly, their movements precise, their focus unwavering. Jack's mind raced with a mixture of fear and hope, his heart pounding in his chest. Dr. Velter's voice broke the silence, calm yet resolute. Her condition is stabilizing, but we are not out of danger yet. We must monitor her closely. Jack nodded, his eyes never leaving Lily's face. Thank you, Dr. Velter. I know this isn't easy. Dr. Laura approached, her expression softening as she looked at Lily. Your daughter is strong, Jack. Stronger than many we have treated. It is a testament to your species' resilience. Elise joined them, her presence a comforting anchor. What are the next steps? She asked, her voice steady but filled with concern. Dr. Velter glanced at the monitors, the alien technology displaying data in a language incomprehensible to Jack. We need to ensure her body accepts the treatment. The next few hours are critical. As the physicians continued their work, Jack's thoughts drifted to the mission that had scarred him so deeply. The hostile planet, the ambush, the desperate fight for survival. Each memory was a reminder of his own resilience, his refusal to give up even in the face of overwhelming odds. He looked at Lily, her chest rising and falling with each breath. She's a fighter, he whispered to himself, drawing strength from his daughter's will to live. The room was filled with the hum of machinery, the soft glow of monitors casting eerie shadows on the walls. Jack felt a knot of anxiety tightening in his stomach. He knew the battle was far from over. Suddenly, one of the monitors emitted a sharp beep. Dr. Laura rushed over, her fingers dancing across the controls. Jack's heart skipped a beat as he watched, fear gripping him. What's happening? He demanded, his voice strained. Dr. Laura's eyes flickered with concern. Her body is reacting to the treatment. We need to stabilize her immediately. Jack felt a surge of panic. Do something. Don't let her slip away. Dr. Velter stepped in, his voice a commanding presence. We are doing everything we can, Jack. Trust in our methods. Jack gritted his teeth, his body tense with helplessness. He had fought battles, faced death, but this, watching his daughter fight for her life, was the hardest thing he had ever endured. Minutes stretched into an eternity as the physicians worked tirelessly. Jack's mind was a whirlwind of fear and hope, each second an agonizing wait. Finally, the beeping ceased, replaced by the steady rhythm of the monitors. Dr. Laura let out a breath she had been holding. She's stabilizing again. It was a close call. Jack slumped in his chair, relief washing over him like a wave. Thank you, he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. Dr. Velter placed a hand on Jack's shoulder. Your daughter is strong. She has the will to survive, just like you. Elise squeezed Jack's hand. Her eyes filled with tears. We're not alone in this. We have each other. Jack nodded, feeling a renewed sense of hope. The journey was far from over, but they had taken a crucial step forward. The alien physicians, once seen as indifferent, were now allies in their fight for survival. As the tension in the room began to ease, Jack looked at Lily, her face peaceful despite the ordeal. He knew the road ahead would be challenging, but he was ready to face it, armed with the strength of his scars and the unwavering love for his daughter.